Our top story this morning, breaking news about Saffron Group protesting against Ashok Gehlot government. There's a blowback of Alwar temple demolition. A 300-year-old Shiva temple was demolished using bulldozers at Sarai Mohalla, Rajgarh in the Alwar district last week. Besides the Shiva temple, 86 shops and homes were demolished with bulldozers in Rajasthan's Alwar district on Sunday to clear the way for a road. The Bharatiya Janata Party had constituted a 5-member committee to probe the demolition of 300-year-old Shiva temple in Rajasthan. The temple was demolished in Sarai Mohalla in the Alwar district of Rajasthan. The BJP said that shedding tears in Karoli and Jahangirpuri and hurting the faith of Hindus, this is the secularism of the Congress party. In fact, we've got a whole host of reactions coming in. I just spoke to several leaders of the Bharatiya Janata Party too. Let's play those out for you, and also requesting the producers to get us a reaction coming in from the Congress party.
आज हम कलेक्टर महोदय के नाम पर ज्ञापन सौंपना है। जो राजगढ़ में कार्रवाई की गई है, एक तरफा कार्रवाई, मंदिर को तोड़ दिया गया, मूर्तियों का विध्वंस कर दिया गया। ऐसी मूर्तियों का विध्वंस तो किसी भी काल में नहीं हुआ। मैं एक प्रश्न रखना चाहता हूं आपके माध्यम से भी पूरे देश के सामने कि जब एक साधारण व्यक्ति की हत्या पर भी धारा 302 की मुकदमा चलता है, तो हमारे यहाँ पर कानून में मंदिरों में स्थापित ठाकुर जी को विधिक व्यक्तित्व दिया गया है। जब एक विधिक व्यक्तित्व के आधार को जब नुकसान पहुंचाया जा रहा है, एक तरह से उसका वध किया जा रहा है, आरे से उसको काटा जा रहा है, मशीनों से काटा जा रहा है, तो क्या उन पर धारा 302 का मुकदमा नहीं चलना चाहिए? रोष क्यों है? क्योंकि बिना किसी की सुने हुए वहां के विधायक महोदय की अनुशंसा पर, उनकी उपस्थिति में और उनके द्वारा किए गए, अधिकारियों ने भी यही कहा कि साहब हम तो सरकार का कहना मान रहे हैं, हम तो सरकार के आदेश की पालना कर रहे हैं। तो सरकार कौन है? व्यक्तियों का समूह सरकार है, मंत्रिपरिषद सरकार है, विधायकों का नेता सरकार है। तो जब वो सब चीजें विधायक के कहने पर ये सब चीज तोड़े जा रही हैं, तो विधायक के खिलाफ कार्रवाई क्यों नहीं हुई?
We'll get you some more reactions, especially from the Congress party, because we've got reactions coming in from the Bharatiya Janata Party. We'll play those out for you as well. Mr. Satish Punya has given out a reaction, Gaurav Bhatia's reaction. Let's play that out and show you what the BJP thinks about this. In the meanwhile, also requesting the producers to get the Congress to retort on this. This is a big story we're tracking at the moment. Saffron Group protesting against the Ashok Gehlot government.
उम्मीद करते हैं कि वो हमारे आस्था का जो सवाल है उसका मान रखते हुए जो भी कार्यकर्ता कांग्रेस कार्यकर्ता ने जो गलत ऑर्डर दिए हैं उन सबको सस्पेंड किया जाए। हाँ, कुछ लोगों ने गलत डिसीजन लिया है, पर अशोक गहलोत जी उनका सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं। आज मैं खुद भी कांग्रेस से हूँ, बट कहीं ना कहीं कांग्रेस वालों के जो रूल्स और नियम हमारे आस्था के खिलाफ जा रहे हैं, इसी वजह से आज मुझे उनके खिलाफ बोलना पड़ रहा है।
All right, let's get you a Congress leader's reaction as well on this particular story. It's a blowback coming in on the Alwar temple demolition drive. The Saffron Group protesting against the Ashok Gehlot government, which is already walking on eggshells, as you already know. A 300-year-old Shiva temple was demolished using bulldozers at Sarai Mohalla, Rajgarh in the Alwar district last week, and this is the context in the back of which these protests are breaking out. We're getting you visuals of the protests as well. If you can see the visuals, there's heavy police deployment, barricading on the left side of your screens. Right in the middle of your screens, you can see the Saffron protesters from the Vishwa Hindu Parishad as well. And in fact, I just spoke to Gaurav Bhatia a little while back, and here is what he had to say.
First of all, the larger point is the kind of discrimination that goes on in Rajasthan on the basis of religion, and let me cite an example. The hatred that the Congress party has towards the Hindu community is evident that 300-year-old temple is demolished and not even an opportunity is given in terms of a notice. And on the other side, we all know when the Hindu Navvar celebrations were on, stones were pelted, and the main accused from Karoli is missing. He has not been arrested in spite of 25-day period being passed, and even another accused is called to an iftar party hosted by Ashok Gehlot. So it makes it very evident that in Rajasthan, Hindus are given, discriminating treatment, and they are treated as second-rate citizens, and that is why this protest, and this ought to be stopped in a democracy like ours.
All right, we're getting you those visuals that are coming in at the moment. Let's play those visuals out for you as well of the protests that are breaking out. We'll get you more reactions as we go along the way and get you a reporter to tell you what is the latest happening at the moment. Now, besides the Shiva temple, which we already told you about, 86 shops and homes were demolished with bulldozers in Rajasthan's Alwar district on Sunday to clear the way for a road. But there is Satish Punia of the Rajasthan BJP who has also given us a reaction on this particular information that we've brought for you. Let's play that reaction out, requesting the producers to play out what Satish Punia has to say on this. The Bharatiya Janata Party, remember, had constituted a 5-member committee to probe the demolition of 300-year-old Shiva temple in Rajasthan. The temple was demolished in the Sarai Mohalla of the Alwar district of Rajasthan. The BJP has said that shedding tears on Karoli and Jahangirpuri and hurting the faith of the Hindus. This is the secularism of the Congress party, and the Govt party also mentioned the larger point that the BJP is trying to make about the Gehlot government and the incident that is just broken out right now on the demolition of the temple. On the back of this demolition of the homes, of the shop, of the temple, you can see the Vishwa Hindu Parishad members on your screens protesting in Rajasthan against the Ashok Gehlot government. It's a huge blowback coming in for the Ashok Gehlot government. The 300-year-old Shiva temple demolished using bulldozers at Sarai Mohalla, Rajgarh in Alwar district last week. The Congress party says that the BJP's claim is a lie because you have Rajasthan Minister Pratap Singh Kachariawas who called the BJP's claim a lie. He also alleged that the chairman of Rajgarh Urban Bodies Board, who is a BJP member, was the one to propose bringing down the temples and houses. When asked this question to Satish Punia, he denies this. So there is a lot of political back and forth that you're seeing, a political bickering that you're witnessing on the back of this development. And I'm requesting the producers to once again get us what Satish Punia had to say on this very issue. 300-year-old temple in Alwar district of Rajasthan was demolished. Now it has triggered these protests in the area. We'll get you our reporter, we'll get you more reactions as well. In fact, lots of BJP leaders have even tweeted about this, one of them being Amit Malviya, who alleged that on 18th of April, without issuing any notice, the administration ran bulldozers over the Pakka houses and shops of 85 Hindus in Rajgarh town of Rajasthan. So what Amit Malviya claims of the BJP is that there was no notice given. In fact, even Satish Punia said that there was no notice given. We need to wait and watch to what the Congress has to say about this and get our reporter to tell us whether a notice in advance was given and due process followed or not. That is the bigger question. Was the due process followed? Was there a notice given in advance? And who approved this is the bigger question. Politicking will take place. This is politics playing out at the moment with the VHP taken to the streets right there, protesting against this particular demolition. There's a fair amount of fury that you can see as well. Let's bring you some more reactions. Let's also bring you our reporter to confirm whether there was a notice issued or not. For our viewers who have just tuned in, this is our top story. The temple demolition blowback. This is the breaking news we're reporting. In fact, listen in to the protests. They're all chanting Bharat Mata Ki Jai and Jai Shri Ram. These are the Vishwa Hindu Parishad members protesting in Rajasthan. Listen in. us live on this particular story. I spoke to Ashok, I beg your pardon, Satish Pune of the Rajasthan BJP and Gaurav Bharatiya as well, and they both in unison have to say one thing, that there was no notice that was issued and due process was not followed. Do we know whether a notice was issued or not, and has the due process been followed before this demolition? What are you picking up? What are the facts?
Well, Cheti, on the ground, I can tell you that the administration in Rajgarh maintains that notices were issued 6 to 7 days in advance. Even the local people out there who I spoke to clearly mentioned that notices were given out, but that they said that not enough time was given to them to remove their belongings from their houses. They say that they have valid papers of their properties, and despite that, the demolition was carried out. But as far as the temples are concerned, both the state government and the BJP, peculiarly maintain that it was wrong to demolish the temples. The Rajasthan government says that the demolition was gone ahead after the proposal was ratified by the local Nagar Palika board, which is headed by a person who is a BJP leader. And they maintain that the BJP is to be accused of the demolition of temples in Rajasthan, and they maintain that the BJP, in a bid to polarize the situation and to raise the tempers before the elections next year, is trying to indulge and making this into a political issue. The BJP, on the other hand, claims that this is minority appeasement by the Gehlot government. It maintains that after Karoli, once again, it has been seen that the Congress does not care about the majority sentiments, and that is why even the idols that were placed out there, Cheti, inside the temples, the BJP claims that those idols were not allowed to be removed. Now, when I questioned the BJP about how is it that the demolition of temples that took place in 2015, when Vasundhara Raje was in government, they maintain that is different from this one, because at that point in time, the temples were replaced from one place to another. They were not demolished. They take objection to this use of word demolition, but as far as what happened in 2015, but in 2022, they lash out at Ashok Gehlot, maintaining that it has indulged in demolition of temples, antagonizing the majority community in Rajasthan. Cheti?
Absolutely, and the Vishwa Hindu Parishad has been protesting relentlessly on the back of this particular development, as you can see on your screens at the moment. We got reactions coming in from the Bharatiya Janata Party members on this, and we'll play that out for our viewers. In the meanwhile, have you spoken to anybody from the Congress Party on how they respond to the charges by the BJP?
Well, the BJP clearly maintains that, this entire action that has been taken, it has been done at the behest of the local Congress MLA. It has said that the fact-finding team of the BJP, the 5-member team that went to Rajgarh in Alwar, that comprised of Sumedanand, the BJP MP, the BJP MLA Chandrakanta Meghwal, and several other leaders, they have submitted their report to the state BJP chief. And in that report, they have asked for apology from the state government for the demolition of temples. They have also maintained that this entire demolition happened locally at the behest of the Congress MLA, and they have also claimed that compensation should be given to those people whose houses were demolished. What the Congress in Rajasthan, Cheti, has done is that it has suspended the BDO, the EO, and also the board chairman, Satish Dohadia, who is a BJP leader, who is the chairman of the Nagar Palika board, who had been allegedly missing for several days from that scene in Rajgarh. So a lot of politics happening over the issue of demolition of temples, which is only likely to intensify as days go forward in the run-up to the assembly elections in Rajasthan. Cheti?
As far as the Ashok Gehlot government is concerned, how does this work out for them? Because they're anyway walking on eggshells at the moment, and then optically this is not going to be good for the Ashok Gehlot government.
Yeah, clearly, Cheti, the Ashok Gehlot government in Rajasthan is walking on a tightrope. The government is currently in a fix over the internal dissidence and internal factionalism that has been seen in Rajasthan, with different factions in Rajasthan Congress hitting out at each other time and again. The Congress's Chintan Shiva has been planned for May 13 to 15 next month, and a lot of bickering has been happening. And on the face of that, when this thing comes forward, this clearly has given the BJP another issue to latch upon, to hit out at Ashok Gehlot government. but even the Congress in Rajasthan has been trying to get aggressive over this issue, hit back at the Gehlot government, at the BJP in Rajasthan, maintaining that it was the board of the BJP in Rajgarh which was responsible for ratifying this decision. The Congress had also sent out its senior leaders, including former Union Minister Jitendra Singh and a minister in Rajasthan government, Tikaram Juli, to Rajgarh to assess the situation over there, to classify hot tempers of people out there. And they mentioned to the locals out there that it was the BJP at whose behest the demolition happened. But a lot of sloganeering happening out there in Alwar. People had been shouting slogans against both the BJP leaders and the Congress leaders.
Has a complaint been filed with the police in connection with the raising of the temple, and has an FIR been registered? Any investigation being conducted on this?
Well, Cheti, the Congress has filed an FIR. That is what Jitendra Singh had mentioned, that an FIR has been filed against Satish Dohodia, who was the local Nagarpalika board chairman, and several others, but no arrests have happened.
Right, there we're getting a reaction, political reaction coming in. Dave, stay with us. Listen into the political reaction.
इसीलिए अधिकारी सस्पेंड किए, बोर्ड के खिलाफ हमने कार्रवाई की है, क्योंकि लोगों की आस्था से जुड़े मुद्दे पर अधिकारियों को सरकार से सूचित करना चाहिए। और जब ये कार्रवाई कर दी तभी तो इतना बड़ा एक्शन सरकार ने लिया। पहले ही दिन आज तक चैनल पर सबसे पहले मैंने कहा था उस दिन कि हम मंदिर दोबारा बनाएंगे, क्योंकि मुझे भी, मैं आपको सही कह रहा हूँ, हमारी जानकारी में नहीं था, मैं नहीं छुपाऊंगा, किसी की जानकारी में नहीं था। आप मेरे पास जब फोन आया आज तक से कि साहब इसी तरह से राजगढ़ में मंदिर तोड़े गए, मैंने सीएम साहब को कहा, सीएम साहब ने रिपोर्ट मंगाई और बीजेपी इस बात को स्वीकार, आप उनसे पूछ रही हो तो सारा ऑन डॉक्यूमेंट है, वीडियो में है, सब कुछ क्लियर है कि बीजेपी ने प्रस्ताव लेकर मंदिर तोड़वा दिए। जब तोड़वा दिए तो स्वीकार कर लो, उन पार्षदों को निलंबित कर दो, माफी मांग दो नाक रगड़ के देश की जनता से। तो भगवान राम का नाम लेकर आप मंदिर भी तोड़ोगे? एक पहली बार बीजेपी ने मंदिर नहीं तोड़े। जयपुर में भी बीजेपी ने, वसुंधरा जी की सरकार में 50 से ज्यादा मंदिर तोड़े थे, और तब भी इन्होंने कभी माफी नहीं मांगी, आज तक वो मंदिर दोबारा नहीं बना।
प्रताप सिंह जी, आप रुकिए जरा, साथ रहिएगा। हमारे साथ बीजेपी के प्रवक्ता भी इस वक्त जुड़ चुके हैं, शहजाद पूनावाला। शहजाद पूनावाला, सीधे तौर पर प्रताप सिंह खाचरियावास ये कह रहे हैं कि गलती आपकी, और अब अपनी गलती को आप किस तरीके से उस पर पर्दा डालें उसकी कोशिश में जुट गए हैं। आपने अपनी स्ट्रैटेजी भी बदल दी है, आपके पार्षद गायब हैं, आपके जो नेता स्थानीय हैं वो गायब है, स्ट्रैटेजी अब बदलकर बजरंग दल और वीएचपी को आप आगे कर रहे हैं।
देखिए, कांग्रेस पार्टी ने यह आरोप जब सालासर बालाजी का मुख्य द्वार ध्वस्त किया गया था तब भी उन्होंने ये कहा कि एनएचएआई ने किया है, फिर पता चला कि पीडब्ल्यूडी ने किया है, उसकी माफी मांगी। तो कांग्रेस पार्टी का तो ये झूठ बोलने का पहले से चलन रहा है। इनसे पूछे कि क्या उस प्रस्ताव में कहीं पर भी मंदिर तोड़ने की बात है क्या, दिखा दे वो प्रस्ताव में। दूसरी बात, जो प्रस्ताव पारित हुआ उसमें तो जवाहरीलाल मीणा भी मौजूद थे, वहाँ के विधायक, और वहाँ के विधायक पर कार्रवाई क्यों नहीं की गई है वो भी बता दें। उनके विधायक का वीडियो भी वायरल है कि किस प्रकार से वो धमका रहे हैं और बोल रहे हैं कि किस प्रकार से ये सारी कार्रवाई होगी। तो ये पूर्ण तरीके से स्पष्ट है, और जिस प्रकार से कार्रवाई कांग्रेस के,
ठीक है, बालकनाथ जो कि सांसद है अलवर के, वो हमारे साथ इस वक्त जुड़ चुके हैं। शहजाद, आप रहिएगा जरा, उनसे जरा सवाल और स्थितियां समझ लेते हैं। सर, आप क्या कहेंगे, क्योंकि यहाँ आरोप यही लग रहे हैं कि भाई वहां पर स्थितियां जो है बिगड़ी, क्योंकि वहां पर पार्षद वगैरह जो थे वो आपके निगम के थे। अब आपने जो गलती कर दी, मंदिर टूट गया, अब माफी मांगने की बजाय, प्रताप सिंह खाचरियावास भी हमारे साथ इस वक्त मंत्री हैं, वो कह रहे हैं माफी मांगने की बजाय आप लोग आक्रोश रैली निकाल रहे हैं।
तो फिर मैं इनसे ये पूछना चाहता हूँ, वैसे सबसे पहले तो मैं कहना चाहता हूँ कि आपने भी, हम सब ने पढ़ा है, सुना है कि दूसरे के कंधे पे रख बंदूक चलाना, वही कार्य सरकार निरंतर राजस्थान में कर रही है। और अगर ऐसी ही बात है तो फिर आपने आपके अधिकारियों को सस्पेंड क्यों किया है, आपने एसडीएम को सस्पेंड क्यों किया है, आपने ईओ को सस्पेंड क्यों किया है? और अगर यही बात है कि राजगढ़ में वहाँ पर चेयरमैन का दोष है तो आपने फिर विधायक को सस्पेंड क्यों नहीं किया? मैं आपको निश्चित रूप से और स्पष्ट है ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि सरकार की मंशा है, और सरकार की प्रशासनिक जितनी भी व्यवस्था राजस्थान के है,
सरकार की मंशा है,
जितनी भी व्यवस्था है वो सब सरकार के अधीन आती है। यहाँ पर जहाँ पर भी आप देखेंगे, जहाँ जहाँ बीजेपी का बोर्ड है, जहाँ जहाँ पर भी बीजेपी का बोर्ड स्थापित है, वहाँ सरकार किस प्रकार के अन्याय वहाँ की न्यायिक व्यवस्था
बालकनाथ जी की बात का जवाब दीजिए प्रताप सिंह जी।
चेयरमैन को काम स्वेच्छा भाव से काम नहीं करने दिया जाता है, और सरकार उनके हर कार्यक्रम को बाधित करती है।
ये जितना बोलेंगे उतना हमें फायदा होगा, जनता सुन रही है इनको।
जी
जनता सुन रही है और जनता सुनेगी और जनता निर्णय भी कर चुकी है। आपको संज्ञान में मैं दिला दूं कि जनता निर्णय कर चुकी है। आप अभी चुनाव करवा के देख लो, अगर अगर अपने आप में कॉन्फिडेंस है ना तो अभी त्याग पत्र देखकर चुनाव करा के देख लो, निर्णय हो जाएगा, निर्णय हो जाएगा। और अन्यथा 2023 का इंतजार कर लो, निर्णय होगा, निश्चित रूप से होगा। अरे आपने जायज है तो आप त्याग पत्र देकर चुनाव की घोषणा करो ना, चुनाव की घोषणा करो। दूध का दूध, पानी का पानी, राजस्थान की जनता कर देगी, किसके साथ और किसके साथ नहीं है।
बालकनाथ जी,
बड़ा निर्णय तो जनता
आरोप प्रत्यारोप की दौर छोड़ दे, गलती किसकी रही और कौन पर्दा डाल रहा है, सवाल इस पर है।
गलती सरकार की व्यवस्था
नहीं बालकनाथ जी, ऐसा क्यों है फिर कि आपके पार्षद और स्थानीय नेता वहां से गायब दिख रहे हैं? एक सेकेंड बालकनाथ जी, ऐसा क्यों है कि स्ट्रेटेजी बदलनी पड़ी? बजरंग दल के नेता और हिंदू संगठन के नेता, बीएसपी के नेता वहां पर मौजूद है,
लेकिन वहाँ के निर्णय ने ये थोड़ी कहा कि कोई रास्ते में व्यक्ति खड़ा हो तो उसको भी मार दिया जाए। कोई वहाँ पर महिला बेचारी ऊपर मकान में बैठी, उसके नीचे से सीढ़ियां तोड़ दी जाए ताकि वो नीचे नहीं आ सके और उसको तक उसके पानी भी ना पहुंच सके। ये तो बोर्ड ने निर्णय नहीं किया। बोर्ड ने ये निर्णय थोड़ी किया कि वहाँ पर मंदिर हो तो मंदिर को तोड़ दिया जाए और इस प्रकार से अपमानित भाव से तोड़ दिया जाए, क्योंकि सरकार की मंशा और सरकार के अधिकारियों को ऐसे निर्देश होते हैं, तभी ये कृतज्ञ राजस्थान में हमको देखने को मिलते हैं।
प्रताप सिंह जी, सीधे तौर पर आरोप आपके तमाम जो सरकार के प्रतिनिधि हैं उन पर लग रहा है।
पढ़े लिखे वर्ग से आते हैं सब लोग, आप बुद्धिजीवी वर्ग से आते हैं, बताओ सरकार की मंशा की
आज तक चैनल पर ही इस तरह के वीडियो चल रहे हैं, आज तक पर जिसमें बाबा बालकनाथ जी को महिलाओं ने चूड़ी पहनाकर राजगढ़ से रवाना किया। अब ये डर गए, राजगढ़ जा नहीं सकते, महिलाएं और पुरुष सब जाने।
अरे राजगढ़ तो मैं भैया अभी चला जाऊंगा, मैं गया हूँ सबसे पहले। आपकी सरकार है राजस्थान में, जनता की वेदना है, वो जनता तो अपना दुख कहेगी, जनता तो अपना दुख कहेगी। आपके कलेक्टर ने, आपके एसपी ने क्या किया वहाँ जाकर, वो तो बता दो इनको। लोगों को गालियां दी, लोगों को जबरदस्ती जीत में ठूसा गया, उनको जेल के अंदर डालने की धमकी दी गई है, उनको डंडे मारे गए हैं, वो भी तो बता दो एंकर साहब को। तो फिर आप ये बताने में शर्म आ रही है क्या? आपका अधिकारी वहाँ जाता ना, आपके वहाँ पर विधायक जाते ना, तब पता लगता उनको। लोग वहाँ पर धोती खोल के रख लेते,
केसरिया पहनकर झूठ मत बोलो।
जनता तो अपनी वेदना कहेगी मैं, क्योंकि उनका जानकर जो जनता को दुख पहुंचा है, जनता की दुकान टूटी है, मकान टूटा है, उनके जीवन भर की कमाई टूटी है, तो जनता तो अपनी वेदना कहेगी। वेदना नहीं कहेगी तो हमको नहीं कहेगी तो किसको कहेगी?
भगवान के पास
पहुंचे क्या? आप तो पहुंचे नहीं हो।
आप जो मंदिर तोड़कर नाटक कर रहे हैं कि हमने मंदिर नहीं तोड़ा।
आप दोनों की बातों से कोई समाधान निकलता हुआ दरअसल दिखाई दे रहा है। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया प्रताप सिंह खाचरियावास और बालकनाथ जी, आप दोनों का इस मुद्दे पर हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए, बातचीत करने के लिए। इसी के साथ यहाँ रुकना होगा एक छोटी सी ब्रेक।
You saw the BJP and the Congress spar with each other and politicking going on in the back of this particular development. Saffron Group, Vishwa Hindu Parishad, protesting against the Ashok Gehlot government. It's a blowback of Alwar temple demolition. It's a furious blowback that you see, and there are barbs that are being exchanged between the two parties. The 300-year-old Shiva temple was demolished, I beg your pardon, using bulldozers at Sarai Mohalla, Rajgarh in the Alwar district last week. We'll play out what the Bharatiya Janata Party has to say on this. The accusations coming in from there. We'll also play out what the Congress party is saying on the back of this. I also want to take us across to the Congress party, to Dev Ankurvadhavan, who is our reporter. Dev, the Congress party has pointed out that the Bharatiya Janata Party controls the municipal body that conducted this particular demolition. How does the BJP respond to this, and two, do we have proof of this in terms of a notice or a circular? Do we have any of that with us?
Well, Sheti, the district administration is not, saying that no notices were issued. They're claiming that notices were issued, but the main issue that has become is that who ordered the demolition of temples. Now, the BJP is saying that the local Congress MLA, who is Johari Lal Meena, he's a senior Congress leader in his 80s, they claim that he was present at that particular meeting where the decision for demolition was taken. Now, the BJP is also saying that the local board never authorized the demolition of temples. But what the Congress is saying is that the demolition happened when the decision was ratified by the board, in which not only the chairman is that of the BJP, but even the majority belonged to the BJP, and that is why they claim that the fault or the allegation of the Congress is that the blame lies with the BJP. As far as the demolition of the temples are concerned, if the Congress government is now maintaining that that the demolition should have never taken place. It has said that it will ensure that the reconstruction of temples happen, and a committee has now been formed to look into whether the demands for compensation are genuine or not, whether the encroachment had actually happened or not, and whether the houses that were demolished legally or not. In all of this, the Congress is trying to rake up 2015. It is mentioning that in 2015 in Jaipur itself, around 100 temples were demolished when the government of the day was that of Vasundhara Raje, the former chief minister of the BJP. The BJP says that at that time it was not demolition but replacement of temples, that they were shifted from one place to another. But the fact of the matter is that several of the temples that were razed or demolished in Jaipur, they were never reconstructed. That is a matter of fact. And several people, in fact, at that point in time, there were protests also that were carried out by several Hindu organizations, including the VHP, and they had mentioned that this act of demolition of temples is not right. It is against the Hindu sentiment. But given the fact that next year elections are due in Rajasthan, this clearly has given the BJP a major issue to hit out at Ashok Gehlot. And there is a lot of accusations.
Dave, was there a complaint lodged with the police station in connection to the razing of the temple? And was there any kind of an FIR filed with this regard? And where does the investigation stand? What are the facts as they stand at the moment?
Well, Cheti, as I mentioned earlier, an FIR has been registered by the Congress. The Congress maintains that the FIR has named the local BJP, the local Nagar Palika board's chairman, who was suspended later on, Satish Dahodia. It has claimed that several other leaders of the BJP who were a part of the Nagar Palika board have gone missing from Rajgarh, and they maintain that that action will be taken against those people. Cheti?
All right. So for the moment, there is a complaint that has been launched. An FIR also has been filed at the moment. What does the police have to say at this point, Dave, as far as the investigation is concerned?
Well, the police does not have much jurisdiction in this matter. What the local administration, Cheti, is maintaining is that the local Nagar Palika board is an autonomous body. It can go ahead with the demolition drive. But it has also maintained that they were never taken in the loop. What the district administration is saying that what the local Nagar Palika board did was on its own. There was no outside help in terms of demolition that was taken. That they maintain that they had sought protection from the police when the drive was being carried out, and that is it. So there is a lot of viewpoints, a lot of statements that are being made out. And amidst all of this, the Congress seems to be in a bind, because after Karoli, what the BJP is trying to do in Rajasthan is to convey to people that this is an anti-majority government, that this is an anti-Hindu government, and that it is trying to appease the minority, as has been seen as per the BJP, through the demolition drive that was carried out.
Opportunity for the Bharatiya Janata Party when this takes place as well, and questions also arising on whether enough notice was given and due process was followed before this particular demolition or not, and Dave, that remains to be a big question at the moment.
Absolutely, Cheti. That is a big question, whether a due process was followed or not. When the BJP was asked this question, that why is it opposing the demolition drive if it was against encroachment on public land, it maintains that that several people have come forth. They have complained that their houses were not upon encroached land. They also said that that the way temples were demolished was not right. That even the idols of Lord Shiva, Lord Rama, or Lord Krishna were found lying in a bad state, and that they were not even allowed to be removed from inside the temples that before the demolition was carried out. And it is a matter of fact, even when I was there, I saw several idols in broken pieces that were found, and locals complained to me that that the local authorities, when they came for demolition, they did not allow the removal of idols from there before the demolition drive was carried out. Cheti?
All right, absolutely. At the moment, let me just